Life gives us moments when we have the opportunity to make a choice. And what we choose has the potential to change our lives forever. Join us now for another inspired episode of The Breakthrough. And now, please welcome the creator and host of the show, Jessica Dugas.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today is Wednesday, August 7th, 2019, and this is a Breakthrough Show special edition. This is actually our very first special edition that we've done on the show, and I'm super excited to share this time with you here today. My name is Jessica Dugas. I am your host and an intuitive mentor helping you to live with less stress and more joy in your life. And on today's show, we are meeting an amazing new friend of mine, Shiraz. He is an award-winning author and belief shifter that has a unique intuitive energy facilitation that has helped thousands of people rewrite their reality. Wouldn't that be nice to rewrite your reality from time to time? And sometimes these shifts happen so quickly and so easily that it seems like it's just like magic. So that's why we're calling the show today Simply Magic. Thank you guys so much for being with us today and listening, whether you're listening on our Facebook platform, on our website, or if you're listening on one of our brand new podcast platforms. We are so thankful that you are with us today. Please take a moment and give us a little heart on the video and share this out with your family and friends and colleagues so that more people can enjoy the show with us today. So Shiraz, thank you so much for joining us. I'm super excited to get this opportunity to have a conversation with you.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Awesome. And Shiraz is coming to us from up in Canada, which is I love that we can do this on video like this so that we can have these connections even though we're so many miles away, and it's so much fun to be able to do that. So shifting things in our lives quickly seems like just the best thing. And I think many of us have had moments, or maybe a laundry list of moments in our lives where we've wanted things to just change immediately for us. What drew you into this line of work and of energy healing?
It's actually because I shifted stuff in my own life and realized just how powerful that can be. So when I was 22 years old, I got rheumatoid arthritis. And it was very severe. And I spent a lot of my life in bed, in pain, lots of inflammation of the joints, watching my body deteriorate. And eventually I got to this point where I just had enough. And I had a discussion with my dad. And I said, look, I've been trying all these things. Nothing's really working. Do you have any recommendations? And he said, yeah, I've heard of this program over in India called Combined Therapy. Why don't you go over there? And they've had great results with a whole variety of illnesses. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. So I went over there and I met this guy, and, I'm in India and I know my dad was very spiritual at the time. So I'm expecting this guy to do this energy work and lay his hands on me, and suddenly all my illness is gone. And he just talked to me for 2 weeks. Right? And I was wondering, okay, what are we doing? I'm kind of getting, I'm not, but we're going through my entire life story. And after the 2 weeks, he just sort of laid it out for me. He said, so this is what happened. When you were 8 years old, your mom got really sick. Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah. And he said, so as an 8-year-old boy, you wanted to take care of your mom. And, 8-year-old boy can only do so much, but you formed this belief that I need to be responsible for my mom because she can't take care of herself. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay. He said, but your mom couldn't take care of your brother and sister, so you have to be responsible for them too. And then you added your dad, and then you added your cousins, and then you added your friends. And eventually you had this belief that you need to be responsible for everyone in your life. Mm. And that's where you are now. And I'm like, I don't think I'm responsible for everyone in my life. That's insane. And he goes, I know you don't think it consciously, but subconsciously, that's the program that's running. Mm. And I said, okay, suppose that's what's true. What the hell has that got to do with arthritis? And he said, well, you don't want to be responsible for everyone. And I said, obviously. He says, if you're lying in bed in pain, you don't have to be responsible for anyone. It's a solution to a problem you don't even realize you have. And I went, that's crazy, right? And it was neat because if it had been several years before, I would have yelled at him and said, you're an insane man. Why would you think that? And I'm not causing this illness in my body. And but it was at that moment where I was ready to hear that. So I just said, okay, you know what? If that's what's going on, then from this moment forward, I'm not going to be responsible for anyone but me. And he's like, are you sure about this? I said, yeah, I'm not responsible for anyone but me. I woke up the next morning, no pain, no inflammation. The arthritis had left my body.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, I'm sure that you were like, I mean, how did you react?
I was just, what is going on here? Now, I still had the damage. That didn't go away magically, although I'm sure I can, as I keep working on things, that'll happen. It is going away bit by bit as I'm clearing out beliefs over the years. But that one big impactful thing where the actual disease just went boom, gone. And I got up and I was moving around and wiggling my fingers and testing out my hips. And I'm like, what's going on? How? What? Huh? And yeah, that's where it started. That was the core of where I started to create what I call energetic magic now.
That's incredible. And I want to just talk about that for the one part that you mentioned really quickly, because you were saying that the disease itself was gone, but that there's still damage that you're having to work on. What is the difference between the two? Like, how do we know that we have shifted an illness that we have, but maybe what's left is just damage that we have to work on? Like, how do we know that?
Well, for me, it was obvious because there's no pain and no inflammation at all anymore. And that was the big driving thing. And I know the damage is still there. I'm coming slowly because I have beliefs that it can't happen that quickly. Right? And that's the kind of thing I'm working on right now, and I'm exposing myself to other people that have had it happen quickly, so I can start buying their stories and incorporating that into my life. Right?
So you did all of stories. Yeah, you did all of this with yourself, and I mean, one of the first things that you guys don't know this, but Shiraz and I talked before we booked him on the show here, and one of the first things he said to me is, I can tell if people are lying or not. And I was like, well, I don't like this one bit at all here. But so what was the point where you realized, okay, I not only just did this for myself, but I can also tell what's going on with other people and their stories?
It's something that just grew intuitively. When people are lying, there's a heaviness in their energy. And when they're telling the truth, there's a lightness. And the more I noticed that, it just became easier. It's like when you're learning a new language, suddenly you just become fluent in that language. So, and I don't care if people are lying to me, it's if they're lying to themselves. So if I ask a client, would you like to make an extra $100,000 this year? The client will go, oh, hell yeah. And their energy will be, no.
And that's okay, where our beliefs come in. I'm assuming they're answering one way or another. But their energy is saying something else based on the beliefs that they have.
Yeah. And once we know there's a lie there, we can start digging down to find out what the belief is that's creating that lie. And when we get to that, I just ask the person, okay, here's the belief. Are you willing to destroy that belief? If you say yes, and you mean it, you have to mean it, then the belief actually gets snuffed out in that moment. And the neat thing is, I think it's neat, but it's also a little uncomfortable, is my body reacts to energy, right? And just like a lot of people's bodies react to energy.
Right.
But for me, when an energy shift occurs, I start to yawn or I start to cough. Right? And the bigger the energy shift, the bigger the coughing or the amount of yawning. So I have to explain this to my clients because they're like, are you okay? Are you sure you're okay? And I'm like, no, that's fine.
It's a good thing. It's really incredible, this idea that we can shift things so simply. What happens though if someone says yes, they want to shift it, but the answer is really no? I mean, you're saying if the answer is yes and they mean it subconsciously, it can happen immediately. But what happens if that is a no?
Well, if it's really a no, we'll that'll show up, and then we'll come at it from different angles. Sometimes I have to start explaining things to them so they can see it from a different perspective. And then that allows them to get to a space where they'll be able to shift.
Right. Okay.
Most of the times, if it's a no, it's not even that they'll say yes and it's a no, or they'll say no straight out. Their subconscious will kick in and they'll distract and they'll tell me about another story and they'll say, but what about in this case? And what about in this case? And just avoid giving the answer.
I know someone like that. I'm not going to mention who that is. And next question. So what we've been talking about, what we're going to be talking about going into this month on the Breakthrough Show is about getting fired up in our lives and I think sometimes it's necessary for us to get ourselves motivated, get ourselves fired up so we can move on to the next thing in our lives. And sometimes that comes with shifts that have to happen in our lives. And so we say, okay, this part of my life needs to shift in order for me to move on. And I think a lot of us have a lot of those subconscious things going on where we're like, not going anywhere. We're staying right here where we are. And so why do you think that is, that we complicate things for ourselves the way we do?
Because we want to be safe. So safety is one of the biggest things that human beings are looking for. The two things I've noticed, number one, being safe, and number two, being right. And I've seen people choose being right over being healthy, over being rich, over being in wonderful relationships, over being successful. It's incredible. They want to be right.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Like, at all. I just don't think I've ever looked at it in that way, though, of that we're actually choosing that over the things that we want in our lives. Like, I just don't think I've ever put that together before. So I'm kind of, the wheels are turning in the Aquarius mind of all the possibilities right now. For sure. So what is tell us just really briefly, like, what does the process look like of, is it really just you ask if someone wants to shift, do they say yes or no? If it's no, you kind of go down a mini rabbit hole with that, and then you shift it. Is that really it? Like, is there anything else?
See, this is the thing. When I create energetic magic, I'm like, how can we do this most efficiently and simply so that we can just start changing lives in a big way? And I don't like, why is the word going out of my head? When you ritual, that's it. I don't want to have rituals. I don't want to have props. It's just, here's your beliefs, let's change them. And I've had results with people in as little as 3 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I was going to ask you about this too. So we see so many different, and really more and more are coming into our awareness all the time, of different healing modalities, whether we're talking about physical healing, emotional healing, spiritual healing, whatever. We see all these different things, and a lot of them do come with ritual or lengthy things that you have to do, or certain, as you say, props or tools that you need to do it. What about those things? Are they necessary for some people? Is it kind of like that some people need those things, or in order to feel a difference, or what do you think that is?
Yeah, and I don't mean to be disrespectful when I say props, but that's just the word.
Right. No, I get that.
And yeah, so again, everything that's going on in reality is based on our beliefs. So if you believe you need to do these things or use these things, then if you don't, things don't work out for you. And but everything is energy. That's one thing everyone agrees on. It's all energy, and it's just a matter of learning how to manipulate energy. But we've also learned that everything is intention. So if you just go to the basics, energy and intention, and work from there, you should be able to accomplish anything. And you can add other things on top of it if it makes you feel more comfortable with it. If for you it creates a bigger shift and more powerful results, by all means do it. But for me, I love simplicity. Yeah.
And we already know from a previous conversation that we have that I like to say I like simplicity, but apparently I don't. So no, but I think I love what you're saying, because there's no like shade being thrown to people that are, doing other modalities. That you're saying that those things are valid because some people need those things in order to feel it energetically, to feel in alignment with what they're doing, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. I love it. All right. So, Shiraz, I don't know how I feel about this. We're about to find out. But Shiraz and I were talking about doing a little demo with you guys today. And because I am the one that's here, that's the direction we're going to go with this. So we're going to give you a little demonstration of what Shiraz does, and we're going to see where this goes. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay. So, what do you want to work on?
I'm working on right now, the biggest thing in my personal life is shifting things in my physical health. So I've had a lot of issues throughout my lifetime with health, and it's been like cycles of repeating things and new things, and all of this stuff. It seems like there's something different and I get past it, and then there's something new, and it has been something that's, I feel like is a frustration at this point, because I'm like, I feel like I'm done with this.
Okay. So every time you get past something different, something new shows up.
Yes.
Okay. So that's a story.
Mm-hmm.
And you're stuck in that story, repeating that story because it feels familiar, it feels safe.
Mm.
And every time that story shows up again, you get to be right about your story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, and this is the thing, whenever we're right, we get a shot of adrenaline and dopamine from our brain,
Right.
and we get addicted to that. And whenever a situation shows up in our lives, again, we create neurological pathways that record that and have the memory of that, but also have the reaction to that. And the more times it happens, the more pathways we get, until those pathways start to merge together to make a superhighway. And that makes us think about it more and have it show up more, and we just get caught in this loop. So,
you know what I just saw in my head? When you get into a big city and you have all the highways that interconnect in those spaghetti bowls, that's what's happening up here.
Yeah. And this is the thing, once that's there, it's hard to get out of the addiction, especially on your own, because you're not seeing the addiction. You're just seeing things happen to you, when in fact you're at this point are creating those things that are happening to you.
Right.
So what would happen if that story ended?
I like to say that I would feel better, but I almost feel like there would be,
That's not coming up for sure.
I think I sort of feel that because although I want to say that, I feel like there'd be many things in my life that would have to shift if I was 100% healthy all the time.
Okay. So what don't you want to shift that you keep making yourself sick for?
I think how I relate to people.
So if you didn't have this showing up, how would you start showing up for people? How would the relationships look?
They would have to be focused on something else. We would have to connect over something else.
Okay. Why is that a bad thing?
I think that there's a part of me that thinks that there's nothing else to connect over.
Yeah. So are you willing to destroy?
Y'all can stop watching anytime.
Are you willing to destroy the belief that if you step out of the sickness story, you won't be able to connect with anyone anymore?
Yes.
Ooh. Are you willing to destroy the belief that these illnesses create value? Ouch, there's huge resistance. Are you willing to destroy the belief that these illnesses create value in who you are?
Yes.
And are you willing to destroy the belief that people won't see value in you unless you create something for them to see?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a lot of energy shifting. How are you feeling? Better, worse, the same, or different?
I feel better. There was I mentioned before, and I have some friends watching now that know that it has been a very challenging week for me, and so in a physical sense, and so just like it feels like a good, not just a shift, but that there's an awareness that that I didn't have before, of that sort of knowing how this is connected to things in my life right now. And so it makes a lot of sense too, in the logical part of me that's like, okay, this is good that this is coming out.
Yep. And sometimes just bringing the awareness up is enough to cause the person to start shifting. Right. Sometimes I'll just be explaining things to the person and I'll start bursting out into a coughing fit because they're already there. They're okay. I'm shifting. I got it. Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was glad that you said about the coughing, because then when you coughed, I was like, oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It really is a huge release that you feel in that moment, though, being on this side of things. And I can tell you guys that. And I just want to quickly say hi to everybody that's in the comments. I see you too, and I appreciate you being here today, and especially some of my close friends that are here at the moment that are giving me some love. I appreciate that. But it really is a big shift that you feel in the moment. And what a powerful thing if we could just, and my friend Christy Warnick that's been on the breakthrough before, she says it often, to think of the possibilities. So imagine what's possible if we just said, all we have to do is just shift it, is just change it. If someone says to you, Shiraz, look, this can't happen. I don't, are you one that says you're 100% correct?
Yeah. If you want to stay in your story, I'll allow you to stay in your story.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's a hard thing, being on the energy healing side of things, to know what's possible with someone, and then they choose to stay where they're at and stay in their story. And so it's a challenge. Now, when you do this, do you ever see instances where things come back, or when you have to revisit things, or is it done?
So it depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why when people come to me, we work together for months, mm-hmm. because we'll get you shifted in the very first session. And then we'll keep working on that, getting other things shifted. But what happens is if you come once and then go out and just start living your life, and I've had this happen for a lot of people, and which is why I keep saying, do a full coaching program with me, is there's two big things that happen that makes you undo everything. Number one, you start functioning in a different way. You're a different person, and everyone around you is like, what the hell happened? And they get uncomfortable with it. Right? And in order to make them comfortable, you undo everything. Right? And so I keep telling everyone, don't give a crap what anyone else thinks of you, right? Don't give a crap about anyone, just don't give a crap what they think, right? So it's your world, you're creating it. If they get upset because you're happier, or you're making more money, or you're healthier, then that's on them, it's not on you. Stay where you are.
So if you're getting fired up about your life and you're wanting to shift things, do you think that a lot of times changing the people that you're surrounding yourself with is necessary as part of that shift?
It's necessary if you keep allowing yourself to be affected by the people around you. Mm. If you can start getting to a place where they're existing that way, and I can see that they're in their story, and I'm allowing them to be in their story, but I'm not going to let it affect me, then you can be around whoever the hell you want. Mm-hmm. And you're good. The other problem that people have is, and this is so funny when I hear it, is they say, well, everything was going great and I'm used to things going wrong. So after a while, I'm like, well, when's it going to go wrong? When's it going to go wrong? And I started getting into anxiety, and then finally something went wrong. I went, oh, thank God. And I realized I was saying, thank God that something went wrong, because I created so much anxiety about things going right.
I can relate to that a little bit. I can relate to that. And it's sort of like, I was sharing with Shiraz before we came on the air today that his posts on his Energetic Magic page on Facebook often kick my behind. So the one that I scrolled by right before we came on here today says, "You are invalidating every positive situation whenever you say but." So I think that I think many of us get like that though, where we want things to change, we start to shift things, and then we sort of go back for whatever reason, like you're talking about, whether we're trying to please other people, whether we are, have other beliefs that we're making up along the way that keep coming back. Like is there anything that we can do to sort of stay in that space of moving forward from where we've come from, or is it just depend on the person?
It does depend on the person, but it is getting into that place of gratitude and appreciation of the things that are changing as they change, and keeping the focus of the life you're trying to create, knowing that that's showing up more and more each day. Right? We start to lose our way if things don't show up the way we want or right away, and we go, where is it? Where is it? And then when we're saying, where is it? We're saying it's not here. That goes out to the universe. The universe says, oh, I've got to reflect it's not here. And that just makes things worse for us.
Mm. It's the rabbit hole we keep falling down. Yep. The rabbit hole has come up a lot. It just seems some of us are more drawn to that space than others. And when we fall down and just question everything that's going on and create these fabulous situations in our lives. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on with me today and not just share about what you do, because I think this idea that we can shift things immediately if we really truly want that in our lives, that we can do that. I think that that's something that everyone needs to hear, especially those of us like me who typically say we don't like to complicate things, but we do. And the other thing that I would love for you to do before we run out of time today is you are working on a book. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the book is called How to Rewrite Reality. And it basically gives you the setup on how you can start doing this for yourself. And everything is in the form of story metaphors. So I talk about everyone's in a genre. And you can go through a whole bunch of genres in a given day, but you've got a default genre that you live in. And so people at the lowest level are in the tragedy genre, and they're the helpless, they're the hopeless, everything happens to me. People that are functioning a little better are in the horror genre, which is they're scared.
That's better.
It's actually better. You're engaging more. And that includes just anxiety. If you like, because at that point, instead of just thinking I'm hopeless, you're like worrying, am I going to pay my bills this month? That's still fear. What's going on? So that's the horror genre. When you get out of that, you get to drama. And we know all the drama queens and kings out there, and so they're functioning there. There's a lot of judgment there. When we get out of there, we get to documentary. And that's where things are just sort of going, but it's just like a documentary of an animal. You watch a day in the life, but then the next day it's the same thing, and then the next day it's the same thing. Some people enjoy it. Some people want a little bit more, but can't get out of it. But it's just going through that.
Right.
And when you get out of that, you get to action adventure, where now you're really creating things in your life. And above that is actually comedy, where you're just enjoying everything as it shows up. And at the final level is prophecy, where you're like, this is what's going to happen. Watch. And it happens.
Oh, I love that. I cannot. When is it coming out? I want it right now.
It's coming out this fall. I haven't got the exact date yet. I'm aiming for September. But it's definitely coming out this fall. And it's all this stuff is in there, co-authoring with people in your reality, the different archetypes you are living in, and a whole bunch of things, your backstory, foreshadowing your future, all these things related to stories so people can relate to the message that well.
I love it. I love it. It's going to be amazing. And I know that outside of doing the book, you do so many things to be able to help other people. Let people know a little bit about where they can find you, how they can work with you. What sort of things are you offering until that magical day when the book is released?
So there's a bunch of things happening every month. Next Sunday, we're actually starting up the focused coaching program. So there's 6 people in each program, and they get taught, coached on a certain topic, which is success or relationships or health or connecting to spirit. So you let me know which group you want to go in, and we arrange all the groups and get them going. And it's a 6-month program. And each month there's in-person workshops and online workshops. So if you go to energeticmagic.com, you can, that's my website. You can see everything there. We've got Energetic Magic on Facebook, Energetic Magic on Meetup, Energetic Magic on Instagram. And so, and I'm on LinkedIn as well. So
Awesome.
Available all sorts of places. And on Facebook and Instagram, you've seen them. We do a little quote every day and a snippet, a sound bite of me working on someone for 5-10 minutes so you can see the shift happen just that quickly. And there's a different thing coming up every single day.
Awesome. I highly recommend you guys that you take the time to connect with Shiraz, whether it's on social media or his website, or if you're local to him in the Toronto area, to find out where those awesome classes are going to be. And you also, I want to mention really quickly, you also teach others to do energetic magic as well, correct?
Yeah. It's there's 3 levels, and on the first level, by the end of the second day, you have the basics to do exactly what I just did with you today.
Awesome. Awesome. So if any of what he does sounds like it's something that you need in your life, you want to be able to do it in your own life or with other people, definitely connect with Shiraz and be sure to just start to get in that space where you know that it really is magic, that it really is only takes a second. It can just take a minute. It can take a second. Whatever you believe it'll take to shift your life, that's what it's going to take. Thank you so much for being here today, my new friend. And I'm really excited to have had this opportunity, not just to talk to you, but to have a little bit of a Shiraz magical experience as well. And I appreciate that. Thank you to everybody who has joined us today, whether you are watching on our Facebook channel, whether you are watching on YouTube, on our website, listening on one of our podcasts. We appreciate you being here so much today. And I want to remind you all to take a minute and schedule in some time on this Friday to watch our regularly scheduled episode of The Breakthrough Show. We are on Season 3, Episode 2 this Friday, and we are talking to the Queen of Visibility, Juliet Stapleton. She is amazing, and we'll be talking about a hot topic about motivation in our lives. Do we need to be motivated all the time? So it's going to be a really fun episode. Thank you again, Shiraz, for being here. Thanks to all of you for watching or listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Jessica.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Breakthrough. Please visit our website at www.thebreakthroughshow.com. And be sure to join our After the Breakthrough community powered by Patreon. We look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same place for another inspiring episode.